Hello, welcome. It's Joshua here from Unboxable Kings, and our mission is to unbox the king that lives inside of you. And in this video, I want to talk about masculine communication and reflect on my wife's birthday that was just a couple of days ago, and share some lessons that I took from that day, and then speak a little bit more on how to communicate like a man. This will probably be a multi-part series because, as you can imagine, communication and masculine communication is extremely important if you are going to live as an unboxed king, the highest version of yourself. You have to learn to communicate like a man, and if you were anything like me, this isn't really something you were taught, especially not at school. There's no lesson on here's how to communicate like a masculine man. And as a result of that, it can cause problems if you aren't doing this. So I'm just going to jump into the story from Saturday, and then you can take your own takeaways from this. So it was my wife's birthday, and the first half of the day was largely unplanned from my perspective. So when that happened, I defaulted back to what I call the good boy tendencies, meaning I was doing taking action to keep her happy. And this is something that I stopped doing a while ago, but this was her birthday, so I'm using that old neural pathway kind of just kicked in. And what that looks like is me asking her, like, what do you want? Do you want a coffee now? What do you want for breakfast? What do you want to go for a walk now? What would you like to do next? All of these choices of language which sound nice, that's what good boys would do. You know, keep people happy, ask them what they want, be of service, be a good boy. That's what I was doing. And when I was doing it, it felt old, it felt memorable, but it definitely felt uncomfortable. And it's something that I haven't been doing in my life because I've moved on, which I will explain about in just a minute. But it was like, I was like, oh, this is weird. I haven't done this for ages. And the reflection back from my wife was, she just was a bit like, I don't really know what I want. I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying here. Do I want a coffee? Do I want to go for a walk? And what's happening is when you are a good boy in this way and you ask questions like this, you actually encourage your woman to operate from a masculine energy, and she enters that polarity because the masculine energy is the decision-making energy. So when you're asking those questions which you think are nice, which you think are going to be received well, may be received well, but energetically it causes her to enter into that masculine energy. So she didn't feel good either. She was like, oh, I don't know. And the morning was just kind of, it was just whatever. We kind of got up late. We had a long night Friday. And this only lasted for about 2.5 hours, but it was a long 2.5 hours. And I was like, whew. So at noon, I was like, right, I got to shift out of this. I got to go back to what I know and do that to serve her better. So at noon, I decided to go back to my new way of operating as a masculine communicator, and essentially just started making the decisions as to what would happen for the rest of the day. So I immediately decided that we would have the final coffee at 12:30, then we were going to go for a walk. Then I rang some friends and I organised pickleball from about 2 o'clock till 3:30. Got a few people down there. We had a really good time. And then from 5 o'clock onwards, I already had plans that I'd made the day before. So I just said to my wonderful wife, I was like, you need to be ready for 5. Wear something that is, what was the term? I didn't say smart. I can't remember the exact term. I told her to look sexy, which she'd do anyway, but the term eludes me. Ball gown ready. We were going out on a fancy date, so I said, look fancy. She was like, cool. And I was like, we're leaving at 5 o'clock on the dot. Everything will be done. You just get yourself ready. And in that 5-hour period between noon and 5, it was so much smoother. She was way more receptive. She felt like she was having a better day. I was definitely having a better day. And then from there, we left. She didn't decide where we were going. That was already booked. The car already had gas in. The tyres were already inflated. I was operating from that masculine energy. We then went out to a city about an hour away. We had ramen. This was all a surprise to her. And then we had ramen. It was really good. And then we walked around 5 minutes around the block to watch the Four Seasons by Vivaldi by candlelight. It was super dope. Great experience. We had a balcony seat. It was really great. And we had a really good time. And what I wanted to reflect on is the difference between the two halves of the day. Because the first half of the day is how I used to live my life. From that good boy energy, trying to keep her happy, trying to keep her pleased, offering for her to make decisions because I felt like that was a good thing. That's what I was doing. And when I shifted out of that into the new energy, what I started to learn probably about 18 months ago about the masculine feminine polarity, the day just went so much better. And it got me thinking, like, I used to live my life like that, and now I live my life like this. And as you can imagine, one way of living is far superior to the other. So in your life, what I hope you take from this is that you reflect on how you're communicating with women, because if you are talking from that good boy energy and expecting her to make decisions, whilst that might feel good, it's more than likely actually causing problems, and she's too far into her masculine energy. And instead, if you can become the captain, the director, the decision maker, and get things organized ahead of time and tell her what is happening with her best interests. Obviously, you're not telling her to do things that are against her will, etc., etc., but with her best interests, it's all taken care of. It's the I've got you energy, and you will see a significant difference. It was almost like literally night and day. I know it was morning and afternoon, but that was a small enough sample to be like, whoa, it was significantly different. And I think about that extrapolated over a lifetime. You're going to live two very, very different realities. So I want you to reflect on that. Let me know if it resonates. Let me know how that impacts you in the comments. I look forward to hearing about it. But it was big for me. It was a big change, and I'm glad that I'd made that decision, and I'm really grateful to be sharing this with you, and I appreciate you listening, because this is important. Learning to communicate in this way is very important if you want to live sovereign as a free king. Unboxed, not boxed in by good boy communication. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. I've been Joshua. This has been Unboxable Kings. Stay blessed, stay free, and stay as the king you were meant to be, and I'll see you next time. Much love. Peace.